Strategies, where we talk about the latest and greatest crypto projects, news, and much, much more. All right. So we've been flip flopping back and forth between, our main channel that went down quite some time ago. So for all you peeps that have been following all along, we're gonna get back in it. We're gonna be in it to win it, right? Happy and excited to win a nice 100K plaque, get monetization and all that kind of stuff. So that's really cool. And yeah, so what we're going to be doing is, okay, so out in the New York City area and then also Dubai area, all right. This is just a general gist of an idea, okay? Now, renting out units and then office units, okay? And in the office unit, all right, we will have a closet area to do mining, crypto mining, okay, Bitcoin mining, and then we're also going to do helium mining from the outside from antennas, okay? And we're going to utilize solar power, okay, to run that. And then we're going to do a few other things, and we'll do educational videos, okay? And then also what we're going to do is I'm going to be making a channel, and for people that are in the area, okay? And we're going to pick a hotel, and we're going to do a little seminar, all right? And people that are just beginning or have some experience, okay? We'll have a little office area, and each day we set up our trades, our day trades, our intraday trades, okay? And then we also are going to be coming up with an LLC and our treasury and overhead that we make, okay? We buy into Bitcoin, all right? And the top members, the board, the president, everybody is, it's going to be a multi-sig wallet for the treasury, So say there's 6 people on the board, it's going to need at least 4 people to okay it, to move any money. And then also we'll do a lot of other options that are going to be coming around. And, that's that, right? So this page here, okay, is going to be one of them. And the big page, okay, we'll have back in about 6 months, okay, and the revenue from that page, all right, once we get back on and we're doing videos and skits and stuff, because I write skits, I write, all kinds of cool stuff you'll see, and educational videos. So when you write an educational video, right, okay, every time someone searches for like, oh, how to cut my cat's toenail, just for instance, right, people are going to be looking that up. So it's not like, oh, today's Monday the 9th, people are not going to, those daily videos, they're watching it for the day. If you do instructional educational videos, okay, and then people are looking to learn something, then your videos will be up there, more watch time, right? Okay, and then doing different skit videos on shorts, all right? So you, after 100 million, impressions, okay, and then also, utilizing it off of YouTube, and there's all kinds of stuff that would be going on, So the idea is going to be, okay, is coming up with the channel name niche. So for instance, it could be, like the giggle machine, or like yeah, rainbow belt, or all kinds of different stuff, the strands, like, I don't know, just stuff that's like catchy, and all kinds of different things, right? So, and then, say there's 6 people on the team that are doing videos, okay? And each person has their own niche. So for me, for instance, I would be doing crypto chart, reading chart, daily chart, and, some crypto trading. And then we would have somebody else that would be doing, videos. So basically, each day, I would utilize AI and come up with a schedule for a video. So for like a 1 hour video, you know, it'll have talk about 60 minutes, 6 topics, 10 minutes per topic, stuff like that. And for instance, doing different topics on crypto, how to learn crypto, what is crypto, and all that kind of stuff, right? And how to learn and what is crypto. And then second off, okay, college students, right? We best benefit from learning and utilizing crypto. And why is that? Okay? Because they're in school now, they're going to have high debt ratio, and when they first get their first job, okay, and they utilize the stock market and they utilize cryptocurrency, okay, that would be beneficial over time. All right, so just think about it. If you had my buddy, I helped him, for instance, set up a portfolio, right? And he had 20K, and he said, "What can I do?" And this was in 2007, okay? And I said, "Okay, well, first off, we want to have dividend stocks, okay? And we want to have ETFs, all right, and commodities, all right? So we wanted to buy S&P 500, okay? We want to buy stocks that have the highest amount of dividends, okay? And then what we want to do with the dividends, we want to every month reinvest that dividend, okay? So for instance, all right, and now we just added crypto ETFs to our stocks, okay, which is awesome because that's going to keep going up. So we added that up also, but I've been telling a lot of people, they were like, "Oh, I lost my money on Coinbase, or I lost my money on Robinhood, whatever." I said, "Well, make sure you get yourself a cold wallet, like a ledger wallet. Set it up with your key, okay? And you buy your crypto on your exchange, and then you could do withdrawal. You get your Bitcoin withdrawal address, okay? And you withdraw from Coinbase or Robinhood or Binance to your Bitcoin address, which is your ledger, okay? And that ledger is a cold wallet. It's not, so it can't be like hacked. You can't have any issues or anything like that, because in order to move the money, okay, you got to get onto your computer, go to the Ledger Live app, okay, plug that in, connect the ledger, okay, and then wherever you want to send it to, the person gives you an address or whatever. You get that address, okay, you type that in, okay, you go ahead and hit send, and then it's on a little device, and on that little device you put your pin in there, between 4, 6, 8 digit pin, however kind of pin you want to put on there, and then you hit enter, and once you hit enter, it initiates on the blockchain, okay? And Bitcoin blockchain, the blocks are every 10 minutes, okay? And or you can actually pay a little bit more of a fee, and if you do that, then you can get it faster, so there's a lot of different ways that you can utilize that, okay? So that's a bunch of different ways that we are talking about. Okay. All right. We just want to hit that. Yes, go ahead, double tap it. Okay. All right. All right. Now we're on X. Okay. So now we're not on X. If you don't stop buying Bitcoin, you won't stop making money. True that. 8 hours ago from Sailor. That's that dude right there. Bitcoin Rover. I've been watching him, man. He's been growing fast. 6 minutes ago. He's been hitting it, man. He's, you know, when I first started watching him back in the day, he really has been killing it. So, Bitcoin dominance is about to crash to new lows. Alright, you hear that? Bitcoin dominance is about to crash to new lows. Alright, so this is something that, we got them saying here, right? Okay. So, trending Bitcoin. Alright, now AQ. Alright. Bitcoin bull run begins. You can see, like, this is wild. Bitcoin is pure energy. Look at that. Bitcoin 2018. Harvard says Bitcoin is more likely to hit 100 hat. And then look, 2025. Harvard buys 116 million Bitcoin. You see that? How times change back and forth? You know? Times is changing back and forth, right? From one thing to another one. Bitcoin logo spot on the side of the Grand Bazaar in Turkey. Look at that. Look at that, baby. We also keep buying more Bitcoin like maniacs. We also keep buying more Bitcoin like maniacs. Oh yeah. There is a buying. There is a buying. Alright. Popular picks. Okay, and then we got this. Alright, we got my man Rover over here. He's a Rover. Let's see what he's got. Let's see what he's got going on.
The next breakout on Bitcoin is happening right now. And on today's update video, I am going to be discussing the price target of this breakout on Bitcoin. Obviously, I will give a big update on my current ongoing trades. I'm going to update you on where I will be locking in my profits of my already more than $200,000 profit on my Bitcoin trade right now. Of course, I'm going to be talking exactly where we're heading towards. And so far, the predictions we made in all the last days have been perfectly playing out here. That Bitcoin is running in towards a very important level of resistance where I want to be talking about. Of course, I'm going to be discussing my exact price targets. I am, of course, going to be exactly tell you about why we're going to be making so much money in this upcoming period in the market. I have a big opportunity for you guys out there. The Ethereum trade exactly also played out like we have been predicting for the last few days here. I'm going to give a big update on Ethereum, where I think it's heading towards next year, and more importantly, I will be discussing the price targets and what is exactly going to be happening this week with all the big news here that is going to hit the market this week here. So a lot to discuss on today's update video.
I emphasize again, it is free to join my community. The stocks I share are also free. The techniques and strategies I teach are also
discussed on today's update video. So don't forget to once again slap up that like button back above 1,000 likes will be highly appreciated. And with that being said, let me jump straight away in towards today's update video. So first of all, if I am just purely looking at Bitcoin, I am clearly identifying this downward sloping resistance line as the most critical level of resistance for Bitcoin. And whenever we break above this high right here, I think the big continuation towards the upside is going to start to play out here. So this is of course exactly what I will be looking at. And whenever we do see the confirmation of the break above this level, I think we could start to say that we are going to confirm the breakout of the bull flag pattern on Bitcoin. And yes, if I'm looking at the Bitcoin bull flag pattern and looking at certain price targets we should be aiming for, I think a target between $125 to about $130,000 is a very likely target to be reached from off this point of the breakout. And of course, many days before as well here, also while we were in the middle of the correction and liquidity was not building up below us anymore, but was clearly piling up above us, I have mentioned so many times before, Bitcoin always follows the liquidity. And that is exactly what is happening right now here, right? So we're seeing the liquidity being built up above us, and Bitcoin is exactly starting to grab it. So I still think Bitcoin is at least going to push up to about 121,000 US dollars, because that is where the majority of the liquidity is laying. So yeah, I won't be surprised to see Bitcoin push up ever so slightly higher before potentially it's going to be running in towards somewhat of resistance. And here you can see it also. In May and July, we also create a nature bull flag pattern. We are right now just doing exactly the same yet again here. And of course, whenever such a pattern breaks out and we see the confirmation, it is just likely to expect a bigger push towards the upside. And for this Bitcoin uptrend to hold, of course, we should be looking at this major upward sloping support line. And then before I dive even deeper in towards, of course, the analysis, I quickly want to be mentioning that this week is going to be a big news in terms of news here, because we're going to have the Fed officials speak all week long here. We're going to get the CPI and core CPI data on Tuesday. We're going to get the initial jobless claims on Thursday. Also the PPI and core PPI release on Thursday as well. And then in the end of the week, on Friday, Trump will be meeting with Putin in Alaska. So, guys, this is going to be a very big week here. It's going to be very, very busy. Probably this will be very volatile. So, yeah, make sure to subscribe to the channel, because I will keep you guys up to date exactly on what is going to be happening. Then also, the Bitcoin inverse and the shoulders pattern exactly played out like we predicted. It found support on the lower side and now is starting to bounce towards the upside. The price target of this pattern is really around $140,000, which is quite an insane target. But of course, yeah, Bitcoin does clearly look like it is about to see a big push towards the upside. But ultimately, I discussed it many times before here. If I am looking at most of the indicators where I can predict the top end for on Bitcoin, it is likely going to be $140,000 to about $130,000, and it's most likely going to be happening in the next 2 months here, because in 2 months from now on, according to history, the Bitcoin bull market cycle should be over. But that is of course only if it's going to be playing out exactly the same like all those previous cycles. So that is also where I will be personally taking most of my profits from this trade here. So I am really targeting levels around $130,000 up to about $140,000. But of course, if we hit those levels, I will start to scale out quite aggressively out of my trades here. And guys, there is right now still an insane deposit bonus that I managed to continue for you guys out there. So if you want to be trading, first of all, if you sign up an account to REX using the first link below, guys, you will get a 25% free rebate, which makes this the cheapest exchange out there. It's only available by signing up an account using the first link below. But if you also press on that link, you will come to this page where you can clearly see if you're ready to sign up an account using that link below. And after you sign up your account, download the application and log in, you will get a free $1,000 airdrop position. But note, you have to do KYC before. You have to do KYC because otherwise, of course, you can create thousands of accounts and claim once, like thousands of times, a free $1,000 trade here. But guys, if you still want to claim this free $1,000 trade, it is very, very easy to claim here, and it's super, super valuable because yeah, it's only by signing up, confirming KYC, and also on top of that, like I said, you will get a 25% fee rebate, which makes this the cheapest exchange out there. So if you need an exchange to trade on, definitely check out OEX in the link description of today's video. And yeah, guys, honestly, I'm very active also in my private group here, which you can also join here. It's the second link in today's video description. That is, of course, where we are building the community. So check that out as well here. It is absolutely amazing. Then now I'm going to do a deep dive in towards Ethereum, and it's probably going to be a little bit longer because I found a lot of very interesting things here. Of course, first of all, this chart, many of you guys know here, I talked about my ETH compared to Bitcoin chart where I think it's going to be hitting resistance. Yeah, it basically exactly played out once again here. So that is, of course, absolutely amazing to see. The ETH compared to big dollar valuation, of course, broke out towards the upside, shot towards the moon. And basically, if you're going to compare it to Bitcoin, we still have likely a big push towards the upside to go here. And ETH compared to US dollar on the monthly chart here also looks like it's breaking out here. And ultimately, the target of this breakout is $8,000. Which is, of course, quite insane here. But, of course, that is the ultimate target for this major monthly breakout. And I want you to know here, Donald Trump also still holds over $500 million worth of Ethereum. And, yeah, he probably does know something about this, right? Vitalik also, since he's holding so much Ethereum, right now, once again, became a billionaire. So, yeah, congratulations to him here. And what is very interesting to see in this most recent push on Ethereum is that retail interests and retail investors are basically stepping out here while large investors are stepping in here. I mean, I also just most recently posted about it on my Twitter page, is that Sharplink Gaming right now owns over $2.2 billion worth of Ethereum. And they are continuously buying and buying more and more. And this is one of these large investors that is very aggressively accumulating Ethereum. And that is, of course, something very great to see here. Then also, what I want to be talking about is the Bitcoin dominance chart here, because yes, you can start to see it is starting to look like altcoin season is really going to come right now here. The Bitcoin dominance, of course, saw that major rejection from the top side, and basically the gains that we can make on altcoins from here on are so massive still, since we're still relatively speaking towards the top side. So yeah, I am very excited for what is about to be happening next year. I think the coming 2 months are going to be great for altcoins, are going to be great for the entire market right here. So yeah, super excited for that here. The Bitcoin dominance ultimately is right now on its way towards a more altcoin season-ish like period in the market. And I'm not saying this is going to be lasting for a very long time here, because if we're looking back at the historical data, here it lasted for only 120 days. Here it lasted for like only, what is it, like 60 days here. And now we are in, what is it, like 31, maybe 60 days. And I think it's going to be lasting for another 60 days here, because I think we have another 2 months here. So this is the most exponential period in the market. And you can see also in 2018, it was that last month where the biggest gains on altcoins came. Also here in 2021, it was the second to last month where the big gains on altcoins were realized. And once again, I think something similar is yet again going to be playing out here. So yeah, I've been predicting this for such a long time here, and it's quite easy to do so. So yeah, Bitcoin, of course, creating a very similar pattern like the total tree here. So a big breakout for the total tree market is also very much expected of this moment of time right now here. Then yet again, I want to be mentioning spot retail activity is so freaking low here. There's almost no retail activity yet. Well, that is usually what you tend to see spiking whenever we hit all-time highs and whenever we see Bitcoin go quite parabolic. But so far, that has not happened yet here. And I want to be reminding you, the spot Bitcoin, the BlackRock spot Ethereum staking ETF is right now also in the pipeline. It is already waiting to be approved here. And yeah, BlackRock usually never fails for ETFs that don't get approved here. So this is very likely to get approved also very, very soon here. And of course, if this is going to be happening, I think it takes probably another 3 to 4 months here. Yeah, it is honestly going to be very, very great for Ethereum, because then you can get API on your Ethereum ETF here, which is probably going to be attracting even more value. So super bullish things are happening in the background. Obviously, we're just building. I think really the price target for my trades here, I just told them Bitcoin, I think it's going to be going to about $130,000. Ethereum, The ultimate target is $8,000, of course, on spots, but I think it's a little bit of an unrealistic target to be hitting. So I will be definitely taking some more profits along the way up here. But for me, it's going to be important to understand where we are in this part of the cycle, right? We still have 2 months left here. And just like I said to you, this is the part where, of course, the big gains are realized. The Bitcoin dominance is still yet going to be dropping very heavily. Of course, Ethereum compared to Bitcoin valuation, if you're starting to zoom out on this chart, does have much more room towards the upside. And I see some more very important levels where we can get rejected from, but we are also starting to be breaking or approaching this major downward sloping resistance line. So this is going to be one of the next levels I will be looking at, but of course I will update you guys along the way here. But for now on, I will hold my trades open, and whenever I am going to be closing them on like a flash close, guys, you have to be in my private group because I will be sharing it over there. So check it out in the description of today's video. If you want to trade on reaction just like I am doing, check it out on the first link of today's video. But anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out. Goodbye.
Coinbase continues to be the safest, most secure place to hold and trade your cryptocurrency. USD deposits and withdrawals are operating as normal. If you need to move funds on or off Coinbase, you can easily make a transfer via bank account, debit card, PayPal, or wire transfer. Coinbase holds customer assets one-to-one, and we won't lend those assets without your consent. This means your crypto is your crypto, wherever and whenever you need it. Take charge of your finances and experience the difference with Coinbase. Sign up today.
Guys, I just found a theory. I just found some information. It is crazy, but it is actually pretty possible that it could happen. And this would push Bitcoin and crypto to much higher levels than we were even expecting for this cycle, guys. So I will talk you through everything you need to know. This is huge, and I will talk you through my trades. I will talk you through everything that's been happening the last few days and what I see happening for the market moving forward. So very important stuff today, guys. Make sure to stick around from the beginning until the end. Welcome back, everybody. My name is Chris, bringing you cryptocurrency videos every day. If you're new to the channel, then make sure to subscribe and activate the bell right now. So yesterday was a good day, and you can see that Bitcoin has broken away from the orange line at 117k, and we are now pushing towards the upper level of the consolidation here. You can see at 119,800. So this level is huge, but the bears are going to try to push us down here, but it is only a matter of time until we break through it. Are we going to do it right now? Are we going to do it in a week? Are we going to do it in a month? Well, we are going to break through it. In my opinion, not financial advice, eventually. So I am biased towards the upside, and you can also see that we do have a little bit of a channel upwards here. So this is important to keep track of as well. And Bitcoin looks bullish since going down and hitting my orange line at $112,000 here on the pullback. And I said here that this is a likely level for us to see a big bounce off of. So everyone that got in right here at my orange line, this is why you need to keep your eyes on them. You are now up, how much? Well, from the top, it went up by 6.5%, so 10x leverage, 65%, not too bad if you caught that trade. But as for Bitcoin, if you look at altcoins in general, it's a little bit hit and miss. Many altcoins are up, but Ethereum has been doing absolutely fantastic. We even managed to break away from the consolidation level right here. And right now you can see we met some resistance at my orange line at 4K, and now we've had another jump up to 4,330, another orange line here in which we are getting resistance at. So very important, and you can also see on the monthly time frame that we are indeed above the yellow line right here. You can see this formation. This is a very, very important level. You know about it already if you've been watching my videos. And if we close this monthly candle, we are about a third into this monthly candle. So if we close it like this is huge, because that means that we have not only broken away from it, we've also gone down and retested it and still seeing continuation towards the upside. So that would be good for the entire altcoin market. But right now you're seeing mainly Bitcoin previously and now mainly Ethereum doing really, really good. And then the money is going to flow into the rest of the altcoin market. So that's like the typical course of action that you see. If you look at the other altcoins, you can see Solana is also on a nice trend upwards. So that is good. You can see that Doge has been having a nice bounce. You can see XRP trying to break my orange line resistance. Same with Cardano, we did break away from it, now trying to stay above it. Pepe, you can see that Pepe went up to my orange line after the W pattern here, and I showed you this a few videos ago, and I said that this could be a good idea to get in here at the orange line, and as we're forming this W pattern, the W pattern tends to take us towards higher level. Look at traditional markets, also looking good. Bitcoin dominance, I was expecting to start to go down and break down from my orange line, and that is exactly what you're seeing right now. And I think this is going to continue towards the downside. So everything is going completely according to plan, and people were laughing so hard. Some people were saying that Ethereum was dead. When I showed you my Ethereum trade that was down several $100,000, now it is up several $100,000. You can see my Ethereum trade right here. It is up almost 400K. This is the first one, and then the second one, which is this one, is up 50K. So that is all great, but here is the thing now. We are about, if you're using my trading strategies, I'm about to reach the top of the range here. So actually, I want us to see a little bit of a pullback for Ethereum. If we could see a little bit of a pullback for Ethereum, I could adjust the price range at a lower price. But anyway, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna edit it a little bit towards the upside. Now, if you want to know exactly the range that I'm using, go to the description of, actually I don't have the link right here, but I will update you on the exact range of my Ethereum bot once I edit it, but it's just going to be a little bit towards the upside. So I want to try to catch a drop, guys. I want to try to catch a pullback, because even though things are looking very bullish right now, and I do think that
never pay for your internet again. Discover the free Wi-Fi router built with the same technology used in space stations. Captures your internet directly from satellites, allowing you to connect at high speed anywhere in the world, even in remote rural areas. It features a system that projects the internet signal in literally any environment, whether inside your moving car, at campsites, construction sites, or simply at home to connect your family's smartphones and smart TVs. You'll never have to worry about expensive monthly fees and contracts again. Just buy the router once, and you're set with free internet forever. To get your router and enjoy unlimited internet, click the button below and take advantage of 50% off and free shipping.
What if you could earn money while just living your life? With Moomoo, you can earn 8.1% APY on your idle cash, earn money while catching up on sleep, earn money while celebrating the holidays, or celebrating just being you. Moomoo's Cash Sweep program lets you withdraw or invest at any time with zero fees charged to you. Deposit today and earn more interest while you plan your next move.
That we are going to continue towards the upside in general. In the middle of all of this, we are going to see pullbacks, and even this one right here, we went from 3,900 down to 3,300. Very beautiful pullback. This means, and what happened here, we bought on the way down and we took profit on the way up. So this is how the trading strategies works, and this is why we are outperforming the rest of the market. That is why we are making more gains than anyone else in the crypto space, and we are doing it transparently. So publicly, this is very, very good. I'm sharing everything with you, of course. So I'm very happy with the range for all of these strategies here. The only thing is that I want to see the Ethereum strategy. I need to make some adjustment here because it's just been going up so much. But I will continue to update you on these ones. Of course, if you want to use them right now before the next leg upwards, go to the description of this video, click here, first sign up to Pionex, which is my favorite exchange, and then you can click on this link, which is going to take you here where you can choose whichever strategy you want to use. If you want to use the Ethereum one, just click here, boom, it's gonna open up it with my exact settings that I'm using. You have it also for Solana. I think that Solana is undervalued right now, guys. I think that Solana is going to be one of the bigger gainers once Ethereum starts to cool off a little bit. So getting into a Solana strategy is what I would be doing right now if I did not already have it open. So that's just a small little heads up, not financial advice, just what I would be doing. The bull market portfolio is still up 50K, so that's amazing to see. This is great. Let's see. Okay, the only one that is out of range right now is the Coty strategy, but the rest of them are making more and more gains for every day that goes by. Solana, Pepe, all of these ones. No, Pepe is down, but yeah, most of these ones have been doing really, really good. And for the 100x challenge, they're making gains. It's not this one. Let me see. Here we have it. So you can see that for every day that goes by, yes, they are making some gains. A little bit slower here because Bitcoin hasn't been so volatile, but slowly but surely we're getting there and we are compounding and going towards the goal of making 1 million here using the 100x challenge, which is the Bitcoin strategy, of course. Now for my individual trades, you know that I closed automatically the XRP trade closed at 16K in profit. So now my second trade is also green. And remember when I told you, or I asked you like a week ago, I showed you exact setup that I was gonna take. I showed you exactly where I was buying. And I said, do you think that I will be able to turn around these trades into profit? At that point, they were down like 30K on this one, 10K on the Pepe one, I think 15K on the XRP one. Managed to turn around the XRP trade already here, making, let me see here, making 16K in gains. Now we managed to also turn around the Pepe trade here, so we're up 5%. I'm actually gonna close this trade right now as we are right below the resistance here. And of course I could have taken the gains here if I added a TP here right at below the resistance. I didn't do that, but anyway, I'm gonna close this trade right now, taking 7% in a gain, which is not too bad, guys. And then I just need to turn around the Sui trade. So now when I close this one, I have closed two out of 3 trades, which used to be at incredible red. So now I've turned 2 of them around, and I will ask you the same thing. Do you think that I will turn around the Sui trade? Let me know down in the comment section, but I will, as always, show you everything transparently. So for everyone that also did the same, of course, you are making incredible gains, and especially with the trading strategy. So what I would do is just take the gains and put them into a trading strategy, which is the best way, in my opinion, to trade here. So that is great. What to be looking out for this week? You do have the inflation data coming in. This is going to be very important. You have unemployment rates for some of the countries here. So this is something to pay attention to. But more importantly, I want to show you a very interesting narrative that's been pushed. And this came out just a few days ago. It has been floating around a little bit previously, but now I want to give you the concrete information here, which could lead into $1.5 trillion worth of Bitcoin being purchased. Okay, bear with me, guys. So you know that Donald Trump has said that they are looking for a way to buy Bitcoin using a budget-neutral strategy. So they don't want to take money out of their budget, but they want to find a way in which they can actually free up some money and buy Bitcoin with. They just found one. So they can engineer a short squeeze on gold, revalue the gold holdings at the peak, and buy Bitcoin. So how would this work? Well, 70% of the world's gold is refined in Switzerland. So right now, Switzerland has a 39% tariff, including gold bars, which the New York-based COMEX accepts for deliveries. Suddenly, the gold shorters in the United States have a much harder time sourcing gold to cover their position. So what he means by this is, if you short gold in the US, you actually, if you lose that bet, you could be required to actually come up with the gold physically and deliver it. Now, if there's a 39% tariff, of course, it's going to be much more expensive to buy that gold. So this could lead into gold pushing towards $6,000 per ounce, which would allow the US to revalue its holdings to $1.5 trillion, which would then be deposited into the US Treasury's account. So what could they buy with that 1.5 trillion? A ton of Bitcoin. And yeah, this is actually something that could happen. It sounds crazy, but remember, we have seen similar things happening with Trump during this administration also. So if Trump puts on the gold tariff to drive a short squeeze in the physical market, so as to revalue the treasury higher to then buy Bitcoin in a budget neutral way, it will go down in history as a legendary level macro gambit of all times. It can't possibly be right, but it could actually be crazy enough to actually happen. So this has been floated previously. Actually, the Fed also came out and said that this could actually happen. So with the public debt, and they said here that they could actually revalue the gold. So this is not something that is completely outlandish. This could actually happen. It's within the realm of possibilities, and it would be a very easy way for them to actually buy a lot of Bitcoin. So there is an announcement that the White House is set to issue an executive order clarifying the US stance on gold bar tariffs. Moving on, I want to show you a few charts. So first off, let me know, what do you think about this idea of revaluing the US gold stock reserve and then buying Bitcoin with it? So let me know what you think about that theory down in the description. And also I want to show you, this is Ethereum, guys. This is Ethereum, and you can see that the massive level of resistance, which usually has pushed us down, you can see that we are above it right now, this orange line right here, or this orange box, I should say. So this is huge, and if we manage to close like this is bullish for Ethereum. And also if you look at Ethereum compared to Bitcoin, it peaked at 8.8% here in previous cycles. So 8.8% it peaked. So if you value Bitcoin compared to Ethereum compared to Bitcoin, it peaked at this point. If we were to peak at the same point at 8.8% of a Bitcoin, with current Bitcoin prices, that means that Ethereum would push towards $10,300. Would you like to see a $10,300 Ethereum? Let me know down in the comment section. And we have seen more so of a Ethereum season and not really an altcoin season. But like I said, I think that the money is going to flood. At some point, it's going to flood from Ethereum to other altcoins as well. So this is huge. I'm very excited for the future. I need to update the range here for Ethereum. I'm going to do that as soon as possible. Make sure to keep watching these videos, guys. Activate the subscribe and activate the bell button so you get notified as soon as I release a new video. But this one, I'm gonna probably take the upper range somewhere around 4.7, 4.8. Nothing too crazy, just to be able to take full advantage of the upwards moves. But also, I want to be buying the dip, so I'll keep the bottom of the range here somewhere around this level, a little bit higher perhaps. Guys, that is what I got for you. I will come back to you tomorrow with a big video, so make sure to keep your eyes on that, and I will see you in the next one.
Parcel crypto, it's on Kraken. My crypto, it's on Kraken. My XRP, it's on Kraken. I'm part of the XRP army. XRP's back down to $2.24. I have an announcement I'm gonna make, and I'm gonna stay on here until I make the announcement.
A few minutes later.
I just bought another million of XRP.
day we turn on the TV and there's more bad news. Another environmental catastrophe somewhere, or more starving refugees, or innocent victims in war zones. And most of us are busy trying to make ends meet in our own lives, and we see these images and feel helpless to do anything about it. And I think the deep shame we feel about that is paralyzing. Certainly one of the reasons that we turn away. The object of this documentary is to look at the flaws in our systems that allow these things to happen, and the mechanisms that actually work against us, and to show you a very simple but powerful way that we can actually change the world we live in. The material for this film is taken from facts available to the public and from interviews with some of today's leading thinkers. However, we do live in a world full of conspiracy theories, and all I ask is that you keep an open mind, but question everything.
Because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Indeed, I did have a relationship with Miss Lewinsky.
I think that gay marriage should be allowed. I do not believe that gay marriages should be legal.
I am honored to be here with Barack Obama. So shame on you, Barack Obama.
Iran, Cuba, Venezuela, these countries are tiny compared to the Soviet Union. They don't pose a serious threat to us. Iran is a grave threat.
We can end illegal immigration.
We're never, ever going to be able
to totally control immigration.
You have said in the past that it was, quote, pretty well confirmed.
No, I never said that.
Okay. I think that is...
No, absolutely not. What I said was, it's been pretty well confirmed.
There are known knowns. There are things we know that we know. There are known unknowns. That is to say, there are things that we now know we don't know. But there are also unknown unknowns. There are things we do not know we don't know.
One of the most important beliefs that people have about politicians is that politicians do whatever polls tell them to do. We hear a lot of complaint about the lack of strong leadership, that politicians find out what the public wants and then they pander to it, or at least they say they'll pander to it. Now, what this idea of the poll-driven politician creates is the impression that the political system may have all kinds of problems, but on the whole, it's responsive and accountable to the public. So, how do we explain this contradiction between the myth that politicians reflect the public and the reality that on most economic issues, they actually ignore public opinion? Media influence on public opinion has been studied for many years now. We know, for example, that the media often play what's called an agenda-setting role. Public concern about issues tends to follow media coverage of those issues, rather than any changes in the real world. The media create the impression that the American public has a real choice. You can choose Bush or you can choose Gore. The implication being that they're both very different. But on substantive budgetary or economic issues, the differences between them are really on the margins. Both leading Democrats and Republicans support a privatized healthcare system, they support corporate-backed global trade agreements, they support maintaining a Cold War defense budget, and they generally favor the interests of big business. But the media give the impression that Democrats and Republicans represent a broad range of opinion by focusing on civil liberty, non-monetary issues like gay rights or abortion, where Democrats and Republicans really do differ. And this masks the degree of elite consensus.
There's a couple of completely logical reasons why our politicians are so similar. The end game for politicians is to get elected. The people who vote are, for the most part, quite moderate in their views. Both parties try to occupy that middle moderate ground. They're simply responding to that majority in order to get elected. The second reason our politicians are so similar is much more sinister. They answer increasingly to the same master.
Thank you so much. We're looking easily at the first billion-dollar presidential election. It's much bigger money than we've ever seen in a presidential election. We define a candidate as being serious or not by how much money they can raise, not by what ideas they have, what their record in public service might have been. It's all about money. We really don't have an election anymore. We have an auction. And what's for sale? I mean, these are interesting questions to ask. Every incoming president rewards big donors with ambassadorships and other honorary appointments like that. There are all kinds of policy issues. Is a big donor rewarded with a place on a federal advisory panel that might have something to do with, say, approving new drugs or environmental regulations? All of these questions about what's for sale. You know, is government for sale? Is the White House for sale? I think a lot of Americans suspect that it is. The money flows in for a reason, and the reason is not good government.
It is completely unrealistic to expect democracy to deliver representatives who will serve the people's interests when so much money is involved. Having so much money in politics gives all the power to those with money. Yes, we are all still allowed to vote, but how free is our choice? The media in the hands of big business will only present us with politicians that will serve their interests. It would be completely illogical for them to do otherwise. It would also be illogical to expect politicians to change a system that puts them in power. But it certainly begs the question, just what kind of democracy do we have?
Do you want to live in a democratic society, or do you want to live in the society we have? Which, remember, is not a democratic society and is not intended to be. If you take a course in political theory here, I'm sure they'll teach you that the United States is not a democracy. It's what's called in the technical literature a polyarchy. A polyarchy is a system in which power resides in the hands of those who Madison called the wealth of the nation, the responsible class of men, and the rest of the population is fragmented. That's the way the country was founded.
Throughout the history of the world, the rich and powerful have dominated it, and very few people have had any control of their own governments. But most real power in the world is still exercised by those we do not elect. We are still far from governing ourselves. The basis of democracy is the belief that we were all born equal, and that equality must be accepted by those in power. But in the attempts to win those rights, many people have been imprisoned and tortured by those who have power and were determined to retain it. No one in power really wants democracy, because democracy would challenge their power structures and their authority. So anyone who comes out with a democratic idea is dismissed as unrepresentative or a troublemaker or an extremist or something. And in this way, the full flow of a public debate about alternatives is being extinguished.
Big business is about making money. That's what big business does well. Governments, however, have to balance the needs of the whole society, including big business, based on ethics and social and moral responsibility. But if our corporations have become more powerful than our governments, then we have to understand the effect that is going to have on our systems.
Corporations are artificial creations. You might say they're monsters trying to devour as much profit as possible at anyone's expense.
The 14th Amendment was passed at the end of the Civil War to give equal rights to black people. And what